What's going on, guys? In this video I'll show you how to add animated subtitles to Premiere Pro that look exactly like these ones, and I'll also provide you a preset where you can drag and drop the animations onto the subtitles so you don't even have to keyframe them. So open up your project and let's begin. For the first step, you want to go down in the description and click the first link, which will lead you to my subtitle pack on my Patreon. You want to scroll all the way down and either click on the attachment, the zip file, or click on download all, and it will download you the zip. I'm going to do it in my downloads. And then what you want to do is right click on the zip, click extract all. You could change the file location to anywhere you want. I'm just going to extract it here. It's going to open up this folder in a separate menu, but I'm just going to close that and open it here. And what we got here is a preset and a text styles. The preset is going to be in the effects. It's going to be in the preset bin specifically. For the text styles, this is going to actually be the way the text is going to look on the screen. By the way, you could also edit anything you want about it. It's going to put on a pre-made stroke, shadow, color, and font. You guys could change it and save it however you want later. I'll show you. But for now, let's put this on the side and let's go back to our project. You could exit out of this window too. Now that we have the project open, the very first thing we want to do is add the dialogue tag to the audio clips with only our vocals in it. The reason why we want to do this is because whenever we transcribe our audio, it will ask us if we want to transcribe it with the whole mix, meaning everything combined, the background noise, the music, the vocals, and everything else. And the other option is to transcribe the audio clips that only have the dialogue tag. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. If you guys don't have your vocals isolated in your clip, that's completely fine. You're just going to have to probably edit the transcription a little bit more than, normally. So let's actually do this. To add the dialogue tag, what you guys want to do is go down to the clip you want to add it to and click this icon right here, which will open up the Essential Sounds panel. And if you guys don't have this panel or it's in a different location, you guys want to have it the same exact layout as me, what you guys want to do is open up your workspace, which is right here. Click this button and click on all panels, and this will give you the exact same workspace I have. If you guys don't have this button here, you guys could always go to Window, go to Workspaces, and select all panels, and it will do the same thing. So now that we have the essential sounds here, and the second way of doing this actually before I go on is by clicking the arrow and just selecting essential sounds. And then what you want to do is make sure you have the clip selected, and you will see the dialogue tag right here. You could add it, and now if you guys want to mess around with this, go ahead, but I'm not going to mess with it, for now at least. So now let's go on to the next step, which is transcribing the clip itself. To do that, what we want to do is go in this panel where the effect controls are, and we want to click on the arrow and look for text. Hello guys, so I just opened up a new project to show you exactly what to do in the transcript tab, so let me open that up. And now what you guys see here is all the audio MP4 files that you have in your sequence. So as you see here, I only have one. If you drop this down, you could see if you add more will pop up, but I'm just going to delete this. And what you guys don't want to do is click on the blue transcribe button because it won't prompt you to edit any of the transcription preferences, which we do want to change. That's why we made the dialogue tag. So to do that, what we want to do is click on these three dots and then click on generate static transcript. And now it's going to open up this window right here, and I'm going to go back to my project and tell you exactly what to do here, okay? And what you want to do is drop it down, and these are the transcription properties. This is where you could change the language, the speaker labeling. You could change this to separate speakers if you guys have more than one speaker. So I'm going to do no because in this clip it's just me speaking. And as you see here, audio analysis, audio clips tagged as dialogue. Now it's only going to transcribe the ones with dialogue instead of having to transcribe the whole mix or selecting a certain audio channel. So let's just make sure that audio clips tagged as dialogue is selected and let's transcribe. Now for my clip, it's only 35 seconds, so it's only going to take a few seconds right here to transcribe. And the transcription is pretty good. We're going to edit this later. Just hold on, because what we want to do now is actually create the subtitles on the screen, which as you see here, if we go through, what is going on? They're actually not there. We got to create the captions now. So to do that, what you could do is either click the CC button up here, which is create captions, or you could go into captions and click this button, create captions from transcript. So I'm going to do that. And it's going to pop up this window right here. Now, what you guys have to do is drop this down so we can mess with the way it looks. We got format, don't change it from subtitle, leave it there. Stream, none. Do not mess with any of these ones. Style, you can't select anything else. Let's go on these sliders right here. And these are the ones we actually want to mess with. So first slider is maximum length in characters. This is basically how long each line is going to be. So the more characters in your words, or the more characters you want to display on the screen for one line, the longer it's going to last on the screen, and the longer or the more space it's going to actually take up. So let's say for your vertical videos, like your long form YouTube videos, like 1920 by 1080, you probably want to have a maximum of, I'd say, like 20 to 25 characters, because if you do more than that, the words will probably take up too much space and they're going to be too small for the person to actually even read. And for shorter clips, or if you want to go line by line, I'd recommend doing a maximum of 10 to like 15. I would say the sweet spot though is actually around 10, because it tends to add more words if you speak fast enough. So I'd say the lowest you should go is 10. Because if you do any less, then you're probably not going to be able to read the words because they'll scroll by too fast. The next slider is minimum duration in seconds. Now, this is after you stop talking. The text that will display will stay on screen for however many seconds you leave here. So for any clip, I'd recommend putting it all the way down to 1.2 because you don't want to make it last too long. You could always just, manually change it later. I'll show you how. And that's basically it for this slider. The next one is gaps between captions, frames. You don't want any gaps between the captions. So I'd recommend just leaving that on 0. Don't mess with that. Don't move it at all. And for lines, this is basically how many lines are going to be on the screen. So if you guys want to have like 2 lines, one on top of another, you guys could select double. If you just want to have a single line, which is what usual subtitles look like, select single, and that's what I'm going to select. And now just click create captions. And as you see here, the captions show up on the screen. There's also a new track called Subtitle, which is not connected to this, and you can't add effects on this right now. We're gonna do that later. This is strictly for just subtitles, and as you see here, what is going on, guys? Today I'm gonna be actually playing, they go through. Next step is to add the styles to the subtitles. So to do that, what we wanna do is go up to this panel where Essential Sounds is, and let's go click the arrows, and let's select Properties, which is the first one. As you see here, there is nothing being selected. That's why you can't see the properties. So we actually do want to add the text styles to every single one of these subtitles. So let's make sure we select every single one by drag clicking. And now let's go over to track style and let's click on these 4 squares, which is the style browser. We're going to open it up. And as you see here, I already imported my style. So to actually import yours, what you want to do is click the plus button, import style, go over to the folder that you downloaded, and it's right here. Click open, and as you see here, it already pre-selected save to local styles. You want to keep it like that, because if you only save it in save to project, it's only going to save it in this project and any other project you create. You're not going to have this, and you're going to have to re-import it. But if you save it locally, every single project you open, create, it's going to be there. So make sure you guys have save to local styles, and then click OK. You're going to get the same thing, and make sure everything is selected, every single one of these subtitles. Click this button, and as you see here, the text styles have been applied to our subtitles. So now let's go back. Before we actually fix the font size and all that stuff, let's actually mess around with the appearance. You guys could click on the color, change it to anything you'd like. You could even white, red, black, anything you want. You could even take off some stuff or add a background. The way you would add a background is by checking that. You guys could play around with the bevel, make it look however you want. You could turn off the shadow, you could do whatever you want. And if you guys don't like how this looks and you already changed the appearance to whatever you want, you could save it by clicking the plus button in the track styles, and you could create a style and go through this prompt. You guys could save it locally and give it a name, and then it's basically going to save it the same way like you just did in the style browser right here. The next thing you want to do is anchor your subtitle to the center of the clip by going in the align and transform section and click on the middle button to put in the middle. The reason why we want to anchor the text to the middle is because whenever you use my preset to animate the text, it actually scales it from the center of the clip, not the text itself. So even if you want to keep it down there, just put it in the center. I'll show you how to move it later, and let's move on to the next step, which is actually messing around with the font size. So for this clip, I want to relatively take up the whole space, like probably around 100 font looks perfect. As you see here, the stroke doesn't keep its form, so if you do want to change it, you could always just go in the stroke PX and make it bigger or smaller, up to you. Just saying, but I'm going to keep it exactly at 100. Now that we finished the look of our captions, the next step is actually fixing the captions, because there will be some errors and it might not look exactly how you want. So what I would recommend is watching it through and making sure it looks good. So let's do that. And guys, just saying, for editing captions, sometimes you're going to want to cut the words in half or something. Sometimes there's going to be too many words in one clip. Oh, right here, as you see here, it's split between two lines. One way you could fix this is by actually changing the bounds of the box. I'm pretty sure I could show you if I select this one. And as you see here, this is the bound of the box. So if the text actually goes beyond these bounds, then it's going to create it into two lines instead of one. But as you see here, if we mess around with the horizontal size, we could actually make it bigger. But in my case, this doesn't fix the issue. So what I'm going to do is split it in half. We want to split what this and basically into two separate audio clips. And what this but it's going to be really hard to decipher where we actually need to split the audio. So the best way to make this process easier is by turning on play audio while scrubbing, because when you scrub, you will actually be able to hear the audio and discern where the cut needs to be placed. And to do that, what we want to do is go into Edit, Preferences, and go over to Audio. And as you see here, the second option right here, play audio while scrubbing in source and program monitors, you want to turn that on. And now when we scrub, we could actually hear where we need to put the cut. So I want to listen to what this. So right there, this is what this. So right before we say basically, which is right here, we could also use the visual of the audio waves, and we could also make this bigger to make it more pronounced. So basically is right here. I'm going to put it a little bit before. And now, as you see here in the captions, we created two new subtitles. And if you look in the tracks right here, you could actually see that they're connected. And instead of having to edit the text by selecting them and clicking here and then clicking in here and editing it, all you guys have to do is literally just click on the subtitle you want to edit, or even click it in here and then just double click on it, delete, and just keep what this, and then click on this, double click, and then delete that one. And now, as you guys see here, what this basically does, that's perfect. That looks so good. So let's just keep on watching and let's see if there's any more mistakes. Okay, I'm going to edit this. Hit the water. I'm going to separate hitta and water. 3, 2. Okay, I want 3, 2, 1 to pop up separately. So 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. Go is a little bit too, like, comes in too early. So, like, let's move it here. 1, go. Perfect. Okay. And then that looks pretty good to me. Now that our subtitles look perfect and all they need is animation and maybe a glow effect, all we need to do is upgrade them from caption to a graphic. And to do that, what we want to do is select all the subtitles and go up to graphics and titles, click on that button, and go down to upgrade caption to graphic. And as you see here, it did exactly that. Now, if you guys see the subtitle track, it gets in the way. So let's delete that. Click right next to the subtitle text and delete the track, and that should do the work. And now what we want to do is, before we actually add the animations, let's nest the subtitles to make it look nicer. And this is also going to help us with the glow effect later. So let's just select everything again. Let's right click and let's click nest. And let's name these subtitles or subtitle. That's fine. And I'd like to move it down, so I'm just going to move it down. And now the reason why we nested them is because this is going to help us with the glow effect, like I just said. And now, guess what? You could actually move them wherever you want on the screen. So let's say you guys want to move them down here. You just click on the nest, go over in this panel and click on effects by clicking the arrow. If you guys don't see the effects in this top tab, and you could click on the properties and move it wherever you want. I'm gonna keep it centered perfectly like that. And now what we want to do is go inside of the nest by double clicking on it, because we want to add the animations. So to add the animations, let's go over to the effects tab in this panel by either clicking on the tab or, like I said many times, clicking the arrows and clicking effects if you don't see it. To download the preset, what we want to do is right click on the preset folder and click on import presets. Now, as you see here, my preset's already open in the subtitle pack folder, so I'm just going to select it and click open. And if we drop this down, as you see here, my preset folder is in here, OTCU subtitle presets. Everything is in chronological order, so let's start with step 1, which is subtitle transform. And as you guys see here, what these numbers actually represent is the keyframe. So let me show you. Okay, first thing you guys want to do for the pop-in animation is select the clips that aren't touching anything to the left. So this would be the very first one right here. As you guys see here, these captions are touching one another on the left, so we don't want to select any of those. Let's look for another one, this one right here. So hold shift and select this one as well. And as you see here, now we have both selected. Oh, I see there's another one right here because these ones aren't touching. So let's hold shift and do that again. And now all 3 are selected. Now let's zoom in onto one and let's drag the first step onto this one. Now that actually does apply all the presets to every single one you selected, even though you only dragged it on one. And as you see here, it did it. Now, the only reason we add this one to the beginning is, as you see here, like I said, the numbers represent the keyframes, and that means the scale goes from 0 to 110 to 100, which adds a nice little bounce in effect. It looks very good, and it does have motion blur, as you see, because we are using the transform effect. Now, the reason why we don't want to add this to every single one is because it's going to look like it flickers because it starts from 0, it starts from nothing. So that's why we have the second one that starts at 50% scale. Now, I'm guessing you guys already probably know what we're going to do for the next step, but we're going to select all of the captions that are touching the left side. So this would be every single one except for the one that we already applied the first step to. And let's do the same exact thing by holding shift and dragging as well. Make sure we don't get that one, but I do remember there was one in here, so let's not apply to this one either. And now let's take step 2, let's drag it and drop it, and now as you guys see here, this is going to give you a really nice pop-in effect for the other ones too. So let's watch. As you guys see here, it goes from 50 to 110 to 100. Okay, so now the final step for the animation is actually fading out the subtitles where we stop talking. So that would be this one. Let's zoom in. It would be this one and this one. Okay, all the ones at the end. And now let's drag step 3. And now it has a nice little fade out. Yep. You see there? That looks really good. And that's basically it for the subtitle part.
What is going on, guys?
Mostly looks done. You guys could stop here if you want, but if you guys want to add the realistic glow, or you guys just want to add a VR glow, I have that too. It's an optional effect. So all you guys have to do is drop the optional effects and use the VR glow. And now you have a decent looking glow. It looks quite nice, but the problem with this is it actually does not react to the background. It just like makes it look weird. So let's add a realistic glow ourselves. To do that, let's just delete the VR glow if you added it. And what we want to do is actually create duplicates of the subtitle nest. The way we would do that is by holding Alt and then dragging the subtitle nest above, and then we want to create one more copy above that one. Now, as you guys see here, we have 3 subtitle nests, okay? The middle one, we're not going to mess with, okay? For demonstration purposes, I'm going to label this one a different color. I'm going to give it this color. We're only going to mess with the top and bottom one, okay? So let's go over to the realistic glow folder in my preset and select step 1, which is top nest. Let's drag this on the top. And then let's drag the bottom nest preset onto the bottom one. And as you guys see here, it actually creates a realistic glow that affects the background as well. Now, with different colors, it's going to look much different. So you guys are going to want to play around with this. And let me show you how you do play around with this. So the top one is actually going to be the way it looks on the text. So it doesn't really affect the background, but it still kind of does. Let me bring the opacity down. It still does, but the higher you bring it, as you see here, the black parts look more glowy. So that's what this top one is kind of for. It makes the text itself, the layer in front, look glowy, because if you don't have it, it it just has that, you know, it just affects the background, but it doesn't look like it's actually glowing. So you guys could play around with the opacity on this. You could even play around with the blurriness by dragging this slider to make it however blurry you want. But as you see here, the closer you bring it, the less good the glow looks, the more sharp it's going to look on the edges. And the bottom one is going to be the background glow. So, you know, if you guys don't want it to be as glowy, you guys could change that. If you guys want to make it more blurry or less blurry, you guys could change that too. And if you guys want to also change the color of the text, you could go inside of it. You could select all the text and go back to the properties layer, and then you could mess around with the color, the stroke, and everything else. But let's make it red, because red is actually a color that doesn't really glow too well. So you're going to have to crank up the effects. As you see here, it doesn't really look like it's glowing. So for red, you guys probably want to turn up the opacity for this one, probably to 100% to make it look better. The blur probably, I'd say just keep it normal. And then for the top layer, let's keep it on linear dodge. Let's make sure. Then we could just crank that up. And now as you guys see here, it actually looks pretty good with the red too. It looks amazing. I'm just going to keep it on yellow because I like how yellow looks for subtitles. Okay, guys, this looks perfect. This is basically the end product. But if you do want to add a little bit more motion, a little bit of a shake effect, and you guys have the Boris FX plugin, the Sapphire one specifically, what you guys could do is go into Subtitles, select all your subtitles, move them down, move them all the way down, create a new item, and let's do an adjustment layer. Let's drag the adjustment layer above the subtitles, and let's drag it to fit all the subtitles. And now just click on the adjustment layer and drag the S shake adjustment layer preset on top of this adjustment layer. It's gonna make it red because this effect is quite demanding on your GPU, but as you see here, it does add a nice little shake to it. That looks beautiful. So if you guys do have the Sapphire plugin, I'd recommend adding this at the end of your project because it is going to be hard scrubbing through it if you guys need to make edits. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment. And if you guys want to turn a horizontal clip into a vertical video exactly like this one right here, then click this video right here and I'll teach you how to do it on Premiere Pro. Have a good one, guys. Bye.